States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we have a very brief agenda for the workshop. There are two policies, 708 and 709, which have some changes to them that were they would have been part of our normal review process. And then we have policies 415, 16, 17, and 18. So hopefully you had a chance to look through those. There's nothing that's majorly changed as far as substance goes. Most of it is changes like spelling out the word Minnesota instead of MINN, changing shall to must. For 708 and 709 anyway, they're pretty straightforward. Does anyone have any issues that they saw that they want to bring up about them? If not, we will move on to these. Because they do have changes, this will be considered our first reading. They will go on the agenda for our next board meeting as a second reading, and then we will vote to approve them that second meeting in September. For the next policies, 415, 16, 17, 18. 415 has some updated definitions, and some of those definitions are kind of rearranged. So like what constitutes abuse. 416 added information about cannabinoids and cannabis use in accordance with state laws. And 417 and 418, it's just updating which state statutes are applicable, and then a few things like, again, spelling out Minnesota instead of MINN. So does anyone see anything with those that they wanted to address? Okay. All right, so again, because these have changes made to them, they will be brought up as a second reading and a third reading at the 2 September meetings. Is there anything else that would have been normally or in the past a committee meeting type of thing that we need to discuss tonight? Teaching and learning, finance, operations, HR?
I'll just say I thought we had a very nice closed session.
Yes.
With that. Great input, great organization by Mr. Norton to go forward on school safety.
Agreed. Lots of hard work by a lot of individuals behind the scenes as well, which is very appreciated.
Yeah, thank you.
And a huge community effort, right?
Yes.
A lot of caring people out there who are wanting to support us, which is great. I do have one question. We don't have to answer it now, but can we get an update at some point under operations about where we're at with the solar fields? I thought we had had an RFP out there at one point, and where's that at?
Good question.
I haven't heard any updates for a long time on that.
That was something that you can ask Kevin.
It should be out, it was, if I remember right, it was last that we was trying to get it ready to go at the start of a certain year, and the deadline missed or the money ran out, so it should be being worked on during this year, I believe it is, for the solar garden around the communications tower.
There's additional space for more solar panels out there,
And
so
we-
we're gonna open it up.
Okay.
To take
We
bids.
approved the lease on it and everything, and I'm trying to remember the status of the income if they had to start paying, even if it wasn't built by a certain date, I don't recall for sure.
I'll ask.
Add that to my list.
Thank you.
Anything else? If not, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn this workshop, and my plan would be to go directly into the meeting and keep on moving on.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn by Ms. Tiff, second by Ms. Rowe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. We are adjourned at 6:34 p.m. So now I have to leave this meeting and go into another one.
All right, I'm going to take off.
Okay, thank you.
Good job, everybody.
It's too dark to go,
Yep.
so, hey, don't forget.
Motion to approve the agenda by Ms. Tipp, second by Ms. Rowe. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. That carries 6-0. All right, and we have our educational plan. I will have Ms. Rowe read our mission statement.
The mission of the Red Wing Public Schools is to educate and inspire all students as they realize their full potential and become respectful, responsible, and productive citizens.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have our recognitions and upcoming events. I know we have some sporting events starting. Don't know all of the dates, if anybody knows them that wants to chime in. But we have some great activities starting up already.
Yeah, fall sports started tonight, or today,
Today
so
was- Yeah,
all fall sports. And I wanted to just highlight the United Way is, along with the Red Wing Elks, is having a school supply pickup event this Thursday, August 18th, from 3:30 to 6 p.m. I believe free sloppy joes and chips are going to be served, and you can pick up free school supplies for K through 12 while supplies last, and that's at the Red Wing Elks this Thursday, 3:30 to 6 p.m., which is pretty cool. So thank you to all who helped make that possible for our kiddos.
thank you. Right. Any other recognitions? The Red Wing Pool closed yesterday, so just want to say thank you to everybody who was a lifeguard and an employee there. I know it can sometimes make for a long summer for them, and lots of our lifeguards are back to heading off to college or starting up their fall sports and things like that. So we thank them for taking their summer to spend it with our pool.
And there was some community action around, why is the pool closing? And
Yep.
we'd rather have the pool closed with no lifeguards than have a pool open with no lifeguards. I think that's a legality thing, so we don't have the lifeguards.
Yes, and, you know, PSA, if you are an adult who does not have to go back to school in the middle of August, and you would like to be a lifeguard, there are employment opportunities for you next summer.
It's Michaela and Dawn Wetter.
They would love to have some more lifeguards, I know. Okay, so next up, we've got public comment. I have not received any email public comment, have you?
I have not.
Okay, and I don't think we have anyone signed in for public comment. All right. Just as a reminder, you are welcome to come and make a comment to the school board in person, or to send an email to myself and or Mr. Norton, if you would like to do that. Next up is our referendum planning. So I will turn it over to you, Ms. Robertson.
Thank you very much. As I told you 2 weeks ago, we were working on contacting groups to see if people were interested in having us come and talk about the referendum, what things that the rationale went behind your decision. And we have 4 of them set up already. So I will be contacting board members to see if I could get some people to come in and have about 6 or 7 calls out where people are just saying, can you wait until we're closer to Labor Day so we could set up what we've got going on in September? It's still summer in their minds. But I do want to say that already their interests, especially the senior living complexes in town, are very interested in having somebody come and speak. And I'm also going to be using that opportunity to have people like Ms. Stokes and Dr. Wagner join us and talk about some other things, awesome things that we've got going on in our district. So it would be a multi-purpose presentation. So again, 4 already, September 13th, 21st, October 11th, and 12th. So I will get that whole calendar out to you probably, I hope, end of the week. And then we'll be announcing too in the newsletter for people to let them know when we're going to be giving these presentations, and encouraging people to sign up and contact me if they would like to have any more. That's pretty much all I got for you tonight.
Great. How many other groups that were kind of hadn't decided yet, do you think you have? That we're saying wait till after Labor Day?
8.
Okay.
And I still have more to contact, but there's 8. One of the neat opportunities, I think, is that there's a new state law that Minnesota colleges, part of the system, have to have a mandated voter education day. And we're working, Referendum Schools is working very closely with Minnesota State College Southeast to have a joint presentation over at the campus. So I'm very excited about that relationship.
Yeah.
Mr. Harris?
Thank you. I'm just curious on our referendum talking points here. Have they been reviewed by an attorney or somebody who's expert in this? I'm concerned with a couple of comments on renewal. Let's see. Renewal is fiscally responsible given an economic times. That's an opinion, and I'm wondering.
Oh, those are just, the points are not, that's something that one of the board members had mentioned at a board meeting. Those are just simply if you were, that's not gonna go like on our website or anything. That's
Right.
something that a board member had said at a meeting that.
But what I'm concerned that a
Okay.
board member is not to promote an referendum, only to give information. And to me, that's an opinion if it's fiscally responsible, and I'm not saying that I don't agree with it, but, and then renewal is academically and socially responsible. Well, that's an opinion, once again, and I'm concerned that if a board member was to make that statement, is that or isn't that going over the line?
But we are the ones that said that we would like to ask for the renewal. And those
Yeah.
are the reasons why.
Right, but
So I understand there's a line there,
Right, but,
so I understand there's a line there, but it seems that
It's nuanced.
I would just like to have
That's-
somebody familiar with this review it, or if they have already, that's great, that's fine.
That's not-
Just,
We can.
are we going over the line if a board
Right.
member goes out and does a presentation about this and say,
I think,
give information on the tax value and all these other things and what the money's used, that's one thing, but
I'll check with MSBA. I know that there's certain caveats that you're allowed to write letters to the editor urging people to do that. You just can't use your school email. You also could not, if you do not put in for per diem or mileage, and you go I'm going as a school board member, but I'm not speaking for the school board. I think there's some nuances, so let me get clarification.
yeah,
That's a very good point.
I just
Harlan. Yep.
suggested we check on it, just
Yep,
to be
will
sure,
do.
that's all. I'm not complaining about it, if it's right, that's great, if it isn't,
Good point.
Excellent, I'll check out, I will make
Thank you.
sure. Thank you.
Is there anything else you wanted to draw our attention to with that one page or with the talking points?
I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you for preparing us. Any other questions? Okay. So then we are up to school board reports.
Nothing new to report on negotiations.
I can report on community ed.
Sure.
The community ed staff, led by Dawn, had kind of a community ed 101 luncheon last week on the 10th and the 11th for two different groups of people based on when they could attend. And I attended the 11th, which it was fantastic. There were, the head of the YMCA was there. We had a former senator there who's now the president of Hope Coalition. We had Michelle Lisey from the city was there with her intern Dee, who's a student at the high school. We had an employee from Hope Coalition that works in the high school now. They were there. And what the staff did was present to us what they do and the amount of work that goes into the community involvement coming from the school district and the different sources of funding that have to be used in order to provide those types of activities. I thought it was really great, and I was really pleased with the staff. I thought everyone did a fantastic job. Mr. Norton came to this one that we were at, so it was fun to see him kind of see the faces of the people that, they report to, sort of, but they were like, did he like it? Was he excited? I said, I saw him taking notes, but it might have been a letter to someone, I don't know.
It was fantastic, I agree.
Yeah, and so I just thought it was, they were shining. The staff that were doing it were shining, and it was great to see that. And I learned a lot about the community ed piece, and what did they say? 60% of the voters in the community don't have children in school?
Yes, that's,
So as we, move into the referendum talking points, that's a fact. That's something you can say, we have to be able to reach out to the community in different ways, and we do through community ed. They're constantly coming up with new ideas. And I know a couple years ago, they were awarded the prize through, what is it? What's that thing at Treasure Island? They did the
Chamber.
Yeah, the chamber, yeah, community ed was, recognized as a, excellent business, and they got the award that year. So it kind of came through the school district, but I know that community ed was the ones, who were at the top, and that work continues, and just by what they showed us the other day, it was fantastic. So the lunch was good, but that was not they had a great caterer, somebody new to town that they picked to give them an opportunity to get their food out there. Yeah, so if you have any questions about it, I'm happy to answer them, or you can call community ed. Thank you.
Any other reports? All right, then we are up to administrative.
Yeah, let's start off with some more introductions. The board asked to meet the people that we're bringing into the building, so I have two more people that I'd like to introduce to the public and to the board this evening. And I've just asked them to come and share a little bit of their background, a little bit of their story. Okay, So Dr. Martino,
Can we stay
you can stay right there, well, as long as you are on screen, so that the public can see you.
I'm not on screen.
And then if you could come up, yeah, just so that we can get an idea, put a face.
Sure. All right. So I think I've met, or I tried to introduce myself to some of you today, and I've met with a couple of the board members, but I'm finishing up. I'm counting my days. Today is day number 10. So August 1st was approval and August 2nd was start. So it's been fast and furious and fabulous to meet with. Really, I've been prioritizing meeting people. But a little bit about myself. Spent some time in the Twin Cities as an educator and administrator in North St. Paul, Maplewood, Oakdale for several years. Migrated back to Owatonna Public Schools, which I'm just recently coming out of as educational equity and teaching and learning coordinator. So lots of opportunities working in schools. I consult in different school districts, although this job is very all-encompassing, so that's very limited. But I appreciate my opportunities to be able to go into schools and just learn different systems and bring the good, the bad, not the bad, the good, the excellent, and keep the bad. But I'm really about people and coaching and instructional coaching. Just recently finished my superintendent's license, so that was an awesome opportunity to really get into the different systems. I'm super appreciative of just the champions that have come alongside me, and actually a lot of champions I've met in the last 10 days in Red Wing and have gotten into the community and met with people and actually talked with students, which is very fun just to kind of figure out. We have really great students in Red Wing who are working most specifically at Mandy's. I had a recent graduate come up and say, you really needed to listen to the kids. And I said, absolutely. And so I took some time because I think that's powerful to get to know the community. And I think we have some great things coming up. I look forward to learning from all of you. I am an empty nester as of this coming Thursday. So I'll be sending my youngest off to Mankato. I think she's realizing that she's going to miss a lot of all the wonderful things that are home, but adulting is very important. So other than that, I'm just really excited about working with Superintendent Norton. Everybody has onboarded me well. My door is always open to the community or to students and staff and leaders and different organizations. I know Superintendent Norton and I will be heading out to meet the Tribal Council and a couple of other community organizations tomorrow. So that will be critical because we are coming in as kind of a united front in a new administration, and we look forward to positivity and the next level that we can add to Red Wing schools with your guidance as our kind of our stewards in all of this. So that's a little bit about me. So in a nutshell, anything else? Any questions or wonders?
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no problem.
And welcome.
Thanks.
Also invited our new assistant principal at the high school, Mandy Stokes. You want to introduce yourself to the board and to the public?
I would love to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Mandy Stokes. I have been a physical education teacher for 18 years, 16 of which were in Red Wing. I just got my administrative license in January, and I was really hoping to stay in Red Wing. And I'm glad it worked out that I get to work at the high school. I worked here a little bit helping out getting my admin hours last year, and I knew I wanted to be up here after walking the halls and getting in there and working with everybody. And I'm just really happy it worked out, and I love our team. I'm very excited. And the other really thing that I'm really excited about is I will know over 90% of the students since I've had them come up. You know, some when they're in 4th grade, and so I'm really excited about the new year. So, any questions?
Are you gonna keep the jump rope team this year? The high school jump rope team?
And I will recruit someone else. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Right, then moving on to the next item on there, the staffing update. It hasn't really changed a whole lot. There are a couple of items that following basically this list that we're looking at. I'm paying close attention to the numbers so that we stay within our targets for our regular education classrooms throughout the district at each one of the grade levels. So keeping a very close eye on our kindergarten numbers. We're trying to get as many in for certificate viewings as we possibly can. we anticipate that we're gonna probably end up somewhere around 170, so an additional section may be coming to you, but that's, we're looking at that right now and posting it and just getting a feel. And also at our fourth grade, we need to be able to stay below that number, so that is out there as well. Just wanted to give you a preview, basically. Nothing's coming to you at this particular point. But our K and our 4 are numbers that we will likely need an additional section. I specifically at fourth grade, we can't go over that number that the public is holding us to and that we need to hold ourselves to. So those two are on our radar right now. Going into COVID procedures, there's an attachment on that. That's an update. If you're familiar, the CDC has changed theirs as well. And so we updated ours accordingly. If you had any questions on that, I'd be glad to answer that right now, but it's pretty self-explanatory. As far as our COVID protocol is concerned. Okay.
I'd be happy not to talk about it.
Yeah. You know, talk to death about COVID. Let's just go in a different direction. I just want to let you know that it's updated. And will be updated each time something happens. This is a pretty significant change in our procedures. If they are sick when they're in, we will send them home. And then it's really just, we're not looking for a negative test when they come back. It's just when their symptoms subside. And so that's the major change basically at this particular point.
Yeah, that's our.
And yeah, Ari, you had
No, I
something
just took
before.
my note, I realized that my arm was tired, I didn't even.
Yeah. Ollie?
I was gonna say, are you gonna put, you and Ms. Robertson, gonna put something out in the newsletter about the changes in the COVID? That was one of the big things, like, we didn't hear what the changes are, we don't know what's going on. They're going to be looking to us to be putting something out. I was being a little facetious when I said, I don't want to talk about
I
it,
get it.
but I do appreciate those little quips that you just told us, if that could go out in the newsletter in some capacity, so that families who aren't on social media or who aren't watching the news kind of know, do my kids need a mask the first day? You know, will they have to stay home? You know,
Yeah.
just some of the bullet points of what the changes are.
And even seeing that form in itself, they just want to know what,
Yep,
get to the specifics,
Yeah.
will you please? So we can do that, yes.
yeah, because we used to have 200 people on the call waiting to hear what we were gonna do.
Mhm.
Obviously, that's tapered down, but
Yeah,
yeah, that would be helpful, I think, to families to kind of have that running narrative of, so then they can spread out with each other and say, yeah, I heard we don't have to have a mask, or I heard
Right.
you
when they
know.
return, let's say they go home and they return, there isn't anybody watching to see if they have that mask on. We're gonna ask them to wear that mask for 5 days, but not necessarily policing that. It's really sort of turning the responsibility over to the families to be able to say when you feel and that the symptoms have gone away, for lack of a better word, then you can come back in. But if you are exhibiting symptoms, you will still be sent home.
Right, and the school nurse will have some say in that. And
Correct. Yep.
be some protocols, like if you had the flu or.
Even if you had the flu or you had any kind of illness, we would contact the home and we would say, you're exhibiting this. We don't want to infect anybody with the flu or whatever it might be. Please come and pick up your child. So those protocols will still be in place. But we won't be asking for negative tests or anything like that. We'll be asking them to monitor, to make that judgment when the symptoms are gone. And if they return and the symptoms are still there, we're going to send you right back home again.
Right.
So those are the kind of things that we could probably put into a simplistic newsletter and get it out to the public.
I think the biggest thing was probably, do I need to get extra daycare?
Right.
Right, if my daycare can't take my child, or if they have to come home from school, do I need to call, you know, do I have to have people, you know, in the wings waiting for me to call and say, I need you to stay
Mhm.
home with my
Well,
child?
that would be true of anybody that's sent home for an
Yep.
illness. They'd have to find that. But in this particular case, it isn't 10 days.
Right.
You know, mandatory 10 days, which is very difficult on families. I understand that. How are you going to find daycare for 10 days and then jump back out again? So now it's symptom driven. That's what we're looking for.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Minnesota Department of Education visited, and Ann and Martina were both heavily involved in that particular. So I'm going to actually turn it over to them. It was very eventful. They met with 20 of our staff, with 25 of our staff that were involved. The commissioner was supposed to be there, correct?
Yeah, so, Dr.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Mueller, actually, they were going to be a team of 4, and she had driven up. Unfortunately, she was here at the building outside door 10A, and had a family emergency, so she had to leave, but her assistant commissioners, we had 3 there, plus we were fortunate enough, the timing was perfect. So they had another one of their new American Indian liaison, I guess you call it, who's just joined the district. She had spent the morning out at Prairie Island, and she was with Paul Dressen and Phil White, who were also planning to come to our event, and they said, come on with us. So it turned out to be a very, I think, Mandy, we had a really good day.
Yes.
So I think what I'll do is just, they came, when they contacted us, it's because COVID has relaxed and they wanted to get out and just have an open session, no media attention, just they wanted to have a Q&A. Then a couple days beforehand, the new liaison had said, boy, I hear that they're gonna have a Dakota language program and they've got some neat things going down. So we did end up focusing on that, but we also had some really good conversation at the end. But they were gonna give us an hour of our time, and I said, how about 90 minutes, just in case? And we did use the full 90 minutes, and they wanna come back. So I thought it went very well. So Dr. Wegner?
She showcased, you did a very nice job.
Oh, thanks.
But I will give credit to Mr. Paul Dressen and Mr. Phil White in really organizing and making sure that we were doing the right thing for our Native American students. One of the attachments that I put into the board agenda was just a snapshot, so I was able to kind of look at our previous plan. So we are still kind of living on that document of last year's American Indian plan of about $90,000. And they've been able to really showcase bringing in some cultural pieces, developing the Dakota language. So we have somebody on staff this year coming in to be able to teach 3 sections of that, so we're hoping to maintain that. We're also looking at, so specifically to that document, we have 6 key components of American Indian pieces that we want to be able to showcase. And that, of course, is driven by our numbers, both our state and federal. And so always looking at making sure that we have the right numbers in place, but then we have staff who are responsive to that. So I think Phil is doing a great job at the high school of just being that liaison and that person to connect with. Of course, we can always grow our staff of color and our staff that are representative of our students. And so the American Indian funds specifically have gone to the Black Student Union, to our Native American Student Association, so the NASA group as well. And some of these funds actually go for our American Indian graduation. So I wasn't part of it last year, but I've heard that was a wonderful event to showcase our Native American students, American Indian students who are graduating from Red Wing as well. What I think is even more powerful, just coming in as an outsider, is really looking at how the community partners with Prairie Island. One thing that we didn't necessarily showcase with MDE, but I think is something to highlight here specifically for the board, is that we are bringing back the new teacher workshop, and we will be heading to Prairie Island for a lunch and learn and a tour, which I believe Ms.
I will
Buck
be
is.
doing the garden tours of that.
Awesome, so we'll be doing that, so.
They didn't even tell me who it was for. She's like, on a garden tour. I'm like, okay.
So
Send me calendar invite.
we're doing a lot. I think we're afforded a lot of opportunity to grow this program. And so this snapshot that you have in the board minutes is last year's funding. We will get our new allocation, which is always dependent and driven on our students who are identifying. And we have our 506 applications done for more of the tribal and the federal numbers, but I trust Phil's guidance and just looking at what else we can do in the district for our students will be driven by this kind, among other plans that we have, achievement and integration. So MDE was pleasant. I am super proud of our leadership team who brought some really good questions to the table. As Ian said, they opened it up for anything, and we showcased the fact that we are losing educators. That, you know, we should be thinking about reciprocity licensures from Wisconsin. I think somebody also brought up Iowa. So.
Was that you?
Yeah. We're really looking at how do we recruit staff and how do we retain staff and how do we get educators into education. So it was a broad conversation. We really highlighted the fact that we have an awesome American Indian Ed program here and a lot of great things that we're doing. So I look forward to doing that. So MD visit in a nutshell, it was super positive. It was great.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to touch base in the open session about our safety, our emergency plans. that we discussed those during that closed session. Public was, the emergency responders were present, just wanted to bring that up into the open session. And that checklist is available so that the public can see that on the board book, if they wanted to be able to take a peek at what we are doing. That's just one way of being able to do that. Yes.
Where did that checklist come
No. It's available.
from? So is it coming from MDE or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
coming from them. Just adopted, basically. I wish I could claim it, but I cannot.
Okay.
But it is a tool, and you're always looking for those tools that are out there.
Yeah, user friendly.
And then the last thing basically is you asked at our last session about the district educational planner and the timing and where are we with that. And so our next meeting is scheduled for August 23rd, which is coming right up.
Great.
Okay.
Mr. Dirks.
Yes, just wondering if you could elaborate a little bit more on our staffing update. I see we're still in need of apparently 3 cooks district-wide. That isn't as severe as where we were with 6 or 7 a while back, but I don't have much clarity on our special education assistants district-wide, depending on need. We do need 1 special education teacher district-wide based on a report from the GCED. Last meeting, pay was extremely high on our paraprofessionals, and I'm hearing some rumors. I'm just wondering, where are we on this situation? Because I'm hearing that it might be very difficult to have these positions filled. Maybe we don't even know what we need yet, so I'm just curious where we're at.
Well, we have a handle on what we need as far as special education is concerned. From last year, 5 did not return. So it's not an increase basically, but a number of them didn't come back again. I think it was 5, if I remember correctly, that didn't return. So it's refilling those positions, and not additional positions, so our special education population hasn't increased. And again, this was something that was, a few days ago, each day they interview, they fill each one of the positions as it comes through. Special education teacher, it's district-wide because they can shift. I could tell you what school it's at, but depending on who they find and the specialty that they have, they may want to reassign someone. So I don't want to, if that's what your question is where is it district-wide?
We were short-staffed as special ed assistants last year at the end of the year.
Oh, yes.
Overworking them.
Yep.
And I'm hearing rumors there's been an exodus of some people to the education district for more money. So are we going to be able to hire or aren't we?
Well, the education district is, the more money that they're getting is in the specialized programs. That's in the level 3, 4, 5, those levels, because it requires a greater skill set. It requires a greater amount of training as far as holds or, crisis prevention institute training requires more of that. And they're also put into situations that actually require them to be more involved with the students. So I think it's training, and it's also just a job description. So that, I believe, is where the increase is. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's what we're talking about.
If they're leaving here to go there, that's the issue.
I
Right.
can speak to that a little bit about, because I did bring that up at the last meeting, and what I was trying to say is that the paras that work for us in Red Wing still have a tremendous amount of responsibility when they have to wait for a student to be transitioned to GCD, and that can take up to 6 months. It could take up to, and so they're not getting paid at the same rate for some pretty intense work as paras at GCD. The starting pay is $23 an hour. Fantastic for them, but I did just hear of a para that just quit because they got hired over at GCD. So the question, which I know you understand what Arlen is trying to say, but I think it's a real, I think it's a sticky wicket. I don't see an answer to it, but I feel for the paras that are continuing to, support Red Wing and want to work here, knowing that if they wanted to, they could leave and make more money, but some stay because they have, passion for the job that they do, or they like their coworkers. I don't know if that means we increase the pay, Arlen. It's part of the contract.
I'm being very cautious when I say, but I'm hearing rumors of people
They are
leaving,
leaving.
and I'm hearing rumors of not having adequate staff, and where people thought they were going is up in the air now, and staff that is here as paraprofessionals doesn't even know where they're gonna be on the first day of school yet. And if we're gonna operate that way, we're gonna lose some more.
The staff assignments were sent out 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks ago, because by contract it has to be sent
Now
out.
you're hearing they're being rescinded. So please check on it.
Okay,
Yeah, I can just speak to, you know, the conversation that I
They
had.
may be, I
with
should say, they may be.
As far as their
Because there's not-
assignments were
Because there's
rescinded?
not enough staff, they may be reassigned.
oh, okay,
And when you start doing that this late in the game, it puts a lot of anxiety in people.
sure. I can check. I have the list that was created, and that was sent out from the prior administration. I have that, and I'm in communicating with a number of people that are in that situation. But I haven't heard, about a reassignment because of that, but I can check.
No confirmation that their assignment is gonna continue, it could be reassigned on the first day.
Correct. Yeah, I can check on that to see if that's what's happening. I haven't heard that yet.
I appreciate you bringing it up, Arlen, because I think it speaks volumes to what I've been trying to communicate, that often when we source out, we don't have a handle on what happens in our own schools for our families, for our children, and for our teachers. It doesn't have to be that way. We can have a better handle on what happens, but that, you know, takes a lot of movement and idea, and I look to you, you know, and Martina and the leaders in the district to kind of say, how can we move this in a different direction? What do we need to do to make sure that we have a handle on the students in our district who have IEPs? And I don't mean handle, but, you know, that coming to you from Arlen is not, I appreciate that you know, brought it up, because it is a real thing, and having been a special educator in the district, it was always, who do I go to?
Mhm.
How do I get this question answered? What does this mean? And parents would come to me and say, I don't know what to do, and I'd say, I don't know what to tell you to do. You know, there was too much nebulous and not enough finite, like, this is where you should be, this is how it's gonna be, this is who you'll work with. So I just,
At this particular point, now we have a go-to for that. So I know who I need to check with, I know who I need to talk to, and you're right, prior to that, there may not have been that, but now I know that, based off your question, I know who I need to go to find out if that is happening.
thank you.
Any other questions for the administrative reports or anything else you want to add? Okay. All right, so then we are up to consent agenda. Is there anything anyone would like to pull from the consent agenda?
I would like to pull the coaching list.
Anything else? So I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item 6.
So moved.
Second,
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, which should be on.
thank you so much.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item 6. Motion made by Ms. Rowe, second by Ms. Tower. I don't think we can discuss that, so all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. And that carries 6-0. All right, so item 6, coaches and advisors.
I just wanted to pull back because my husband is on the list, so I will be abstaining from that vote.
Got it. I will make a motion to approve number 6.
I will second it.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve item 6, the coaches and advisors. Motion made by Ms. Tipp, second by Mr. Dirks. Any other discussion about that? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. And abstaining?
Aye.
Okay. So that carries 5-0 with 1 abstaining.
And thank you to all of those folks for going above and beyond. That's a long list of coaches and advisors, so thank you. Looks like we need a couple more, right?
Yes, there are a few open spots on that list. All right, next up is donations and grants. So we have received a anonymous donation for publication of materials for the referendum. So thank you to whoever that person is. We appreciate that. So I'm looking for a motion to approve that resolution.
I move we approve the attached resolution accepting donations and grants.
I'll second.
Motion made by Mr. Dirk, second by Ms. Tower. Any other discussion? And because it's a resolution, we will do a roll call vote. So I'll begin with Ms. Tower.
Aye.
Mr. Dirks.
Aye.
Ms. Tent. Aye. Ms. Rowe.
Aye.
Ms. Buck.
Aye.
And chair votes aye, so that carries 6-0. And again, thank you. All right, so next up, I believe, is our policy review. This is our second reading on these policies, so we did already have them at one meeting. Is there anything anyone wants to bring up at this time about any of these policies? Okay, so that will be added again to our next meeting. So at our next meeting, we will have these as a third reading, and we'll have the whole list from the workshop as our second reading, and we'll just keep moving through. We're gonna have that for the next few meetings as we work through the list that MSBA has updated. All right, then I believe we are up to our list of upcoming meetings and future topics. One thing that I did not send it out, so I will just add it to the agenda for our next meeting. But I wanted to have the superintendent search workshop with MSBA. And so Barb Dorn got back to me about that. There are a couple of options for it, whether she joins us in person or virtually. And there is a cost associated, which is not always the case for having workshops through MSBA. So I'll send out the email from, I'll just forward the email from her that has the flyer attached. Since it involves like spending money for that, I wanted it to be a vote and not just me to say, yeah, let's do this. So I will add that to the agenda for our next meeting. And then we can decide on that. Anything else that needs to be added for upcoming meetings? Ms. Howard?
Where are we at with timelines for the evaluation and the goal setting for our current interim superintendent
yes,
prior
yes,
to jumping to a search?
Yes.
I'd like to,
We have that for the next meeting on September 6th to establish the superintendent goals. So we did talk about that briefly at our agenda committee meeting, just that Mr. Norton will have kind of what he sees as his goals or things that he wants to work on, work towards, his focus, and then for us to kind of weigh in on those as well, to discuss that at the next meeting.
no formalized evaluation tool or?
Well, that would be in December, we would do that. So right now, it would be the establishing the goals, and whether we use, then that's up for discussion, whether we use the MSBA tool that we used in the past for evaluations and pick goals out of that, or whether we, come up with other ones.
Because, yes, I definitely want to hear what Mr. Norton has to say in terms of what you think needs to happen and where you'd like to go with that. But I'd like you to also have a fair chance to look at what the evaluation tool will be in advance, so you know what we could be measuring or what it looks like for you to kind of streamline your goals
Sure.
so that it all flows together and it's not choppy.
Yeah, and I will send that.
Well, I
I
know
had it
you
on my
sent,
list to send.
yeah, I know you sent us something, I'm not sure, but I just want us to be real clear on the timelines of that. So if we do this in September and then we talk about a superintendent search in November or October, we're not mixing it up. And
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
saying
I
you're
understand
mixing it
what
up,
you're
I
saying,
just want us to have a clear line of how we're approaching this.
Mhm. So my view for the superintendent search workshop was just to get MSBA's perspective
Mhm.
on what our options are. so that whether, what it looks like, whether we, do a superintendent search or we don't, whether we hire a firm to help with it, whether we do it internally, like what all of those options look like, for us to have that and to just have that in the back of our mind, so that when we get to the point of doing the evaluation and then, move into, end of December, January, we're all in a place where we can say, this is what we want to do, here's how we're going to move forward, and we don't have to do a lot of
We have all the
figuring.
information.
We have the information available, yeah. Ms. Rowe?
The only question I have is, does MSBA also have some guidance on an evaluation for a superintendent that's in an interim position? Maybe they already have a tool, because it is a 1 year or until a different person is filling in. So maybe there's already a shorter tool versus the big time one that we've used in previous
I like that
evaluations.
I'll ask.
Because I kind of feel like it's putting the cart before the horse. Like, I don't want to set you up for, the evaluation tool that's out there for superintendents through MSBA, I thought was a great tool, and it was very helpful in streamlining where we all wanted to focus, and it really helped us as a board understand that our goal really is to help you achieve your goals, and how can we do that? How can we support you in those 3 or 4 goals that we've, all together set? But I would hate to put all that work into a very large, it's worthy, but maybe there's something easier, shorter, more succinct for an interim position. I don't know.
Or maybe the goals that Mr. Norton has in mind are already aligned really well with some of the goals listed on that evaluation that we looked at in the past.
So it's just a language tweak.
Right.
Right, good point.
We'll send those things out.
Should we do that at a workshop? Is that what we were planning? The September 6th workshop? Okay. My own head
Yes.
didn't remember that.
First day of school.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, and then I added 3 Mondays in a row, or 3 meetings in a row, I guess I should say, for GCED related topics. October 3rd to get a better understanding of funding, October 17th to look at staffing and shared positions, and then November 7th, special education programming, not just with GCED, but including that. So that's just where I plugged those in and kind of divvied that up based on what we talked about last time.
Thank you.
Yeah, any other things we need? Also, if you have not filled out the self-evaluation for the board, please do that. I did email out the link that goes with that, so
When is that?
each have that. I don't think we've set a hard and fast due date.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah.
I just did it today and it doesn't take too long.
So is it kind of like, we'll talk about it at a,
Let's say have that done before the next meeting, before September 6th, and I'll give you a reminder on September 6th.
next meeting? You keep saying September 6th, and I keep thinking there's like 5 weeks in between.
Sorry, no.
No, I get it.
All right. We do have a bonus Monday in August, so it's 3 weeks away. It's not 2 weeks away, but it's creeping up pretty fast. Okay, if there's nothing else, I think we're just looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Okay, motion to adjourn by Ms. Rowe, second by Ms. Tower. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries 6-0. We are adjourned at 7:24 p.m.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.